who reminds you, go Big Red.
Hey guys, it's Bill Bush. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty has opened a new location in Pender, Nebraska, in addition to their office in Lincoln. The real estate world can be confusing, so why wouldn't you want an expert helping you every step of the way? If you're looking to buy or sell farmland in Nebraska, Kansas, or Iowa, give Ethan Sorensen a call today at 402-380-0432 or visit them online at nextagrealestate.com. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty with locations in Lincoln and now Pender, Nebraska.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
The Omaha Supernovas are back in action this Thursday, March 28th versus the Grand Rapids Rise at CHI Health Center in Omaha. The Mullen Motors pregame show with Derek Pierson and Renee Saunders starts at 6 p.m. with first serve at 7. Make sure to tune in to the Next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Supernovas Radio Network.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
The Serve Nebraska Volunteer Service Commission was created to ensure that community service would always be a priority in our state. I'm Governor Jim Pillen, and this year I'm inviting you to help celebrate Serve Nebraska's 30th year by becoming a volunteer. Our state's best resource is its people. You have the potential to make a significant impact. Thank you.
Sponsored by Serve Nebraska, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, there's a chance we could see a few flurries. Otherwise, we'll see partly sunny skies and a high around 46. Tonight, mainly clear skies with a low around 28. And tomorrow, we'll see more sunshine to go along with warmer temperatures. Afternoon high expected around 64. I'm meteorologist Kyle Kleckner from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
We do not go quietly in the night on early break. We don't, and we won't.
Is that our motto now? Is that our new show motto? Look at that. We let you have that moment. Yes.
We won't.
We won't. We don't. We won't. It's our new one. Yeah, I'm getting a T-shirt.
We don't go quietly in the night. We voice
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
If I'm going to watch a man run around, I want to see him run around in tights, in shoulder pads, in helmet, mouthpieces, and gritting their teeth, squinting their eyes, some people closing their eyes, and smashing into each other. That's what I want to see. That's football. That's football. That's football. Don't nobody want to see no we shall overcome type football. They want to see some rock'em sock'em hit you in the mouth football box. Exciting football.
On the block with Strick and Austin.
I think about all the infrastructure that got built up behind the scenes by Coach Osborne, that Coach Solich took over, and then some of that infrastructure was eroded. Matt Rule still has to prove this, but I think Matt Rule's style is that, yeah, he'd like the infrastructure in place, but I think Matt Rule has the personality to do everything in his power to bend it to the way he wants it.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown. 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker in one more.
DeMornay Pierson-El.
Not only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome into the Don't Punt Hour. I am Harrison Arndt on the ones and twos. We got DeMornay Pierson-El. He will be calling in shortly on the Allo VIP line, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. So again, shout out to Allo VIP for making it easy for us. Again, when people can't stream, it's great to have the Allo VIP line that's always ready and reliable for us. So with that being said, while we wait for DeMornay Pierson-El, who should be joining us here shortly in this first segment, we just wrapped up with Speed and Power. Excuse me, not Speed and Power, one-on-one with DP, with Megan Walker, who is the host of Speed and Power. So you can always go back, watch that one on YouTube, catch the podcast. But in the meantime, let's talk a little bit of Nebraska hoops here. Actually, let's go ahead and scratch that. Let's go ahead and just bring in the host as always, as we got him in. DeMornay Pierson-El, the host as always. How's it going on this already Wednesday night?
It's going good. Not too bad. And yourself?
It's better. It's not. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm not trying to talk about it, but it's the sun's out, so I can smile. The sun's out, and it's not miserable, so I can say that much. 402-464-5685. You guys are always welcome to join in. But I was just about to get into some Nebraska basketball. We lose another one in CJ Wilcher. What kind of implications does this have for the team? That's now the fourth player from Nebraska to hit the transfer portal on the basketball team.
Things like this happen. People might think they deserve, other things, or think they can get, stuff better on the other side of the grass, which is fine. And, that's their own right. I mean, again, it's nothing to be worried about or concerned about. Things happen for a reason. They feel like, they weren't a fit anymore, and, they got to do what's best for them.
Yep, fair enough. Wish the best of luck for CJ Wilcher. It did come as a bit of surprise, since he did kind of have a breakout season, what felt like for Nebraska this year. Again, I think that Wisconsin game, he was, don't want to say single-handedly, but felt like it, to come back from a massive 19-point deficit, and he just could never catch his rhythm again in terms of shooting. So I will say, with his shooting numbers, he's kind of ebbed and flowed. But of course, best of luck to him in the portal. Who knows? Maybe he even ends up back at Nebraska and doesn't end up landing anywhere else. But again, no CJ Wilcher, no Eli Rice, no Ramel Lloyd Jr. All of those guys have moved on and hit the portal, and obviously Keita as well. So we got 4 Huskers in the portal. With that being said, what is the need on this roster that if we're going to go hit the transfer portal, try to patch some holes? Do you need size? Do you need athleticism? Do you need some guards that can consistently play good perimeter defense, considering how many threes Nebraska gave up this year? What are the needs to kind of patch up this roster?
I would say a mixture of size and athleticism for sure, at all positions. If you got a bigger guard that's more athletic and everything like that, that can help you out with a lot of stuff. If you got, bigs that can, run the floor and have a high motor, that can get you out of situations and whatnot. So I think that's most definitely important.
Yeah, we need a big. I think that's where I'm at. I love Rink Mass game, but there's certain times where you could tell he could just use some help or even just a breather to get a better rim protector in there. Josiah Alec, it bums me out just because I would have loved to see Josiah Alec under some more development under Fred Hoiberg. I like the raw athleticism he had. Definitely had the hustle. You weren't worried about that guy not giving all his effort out there on the court. But it would have been great to just see a few more years. What does he look like under Fred Hoiberg's development? Can he get that massive frame, crazy athleticism under control, and just really be a strong utility rim protector? But again, still had a great season. He ran out of time, but we do need to patch that up. I think we need Doesn't necessarily have to be an old school 5, but we're going to need to get a big in there that can protect the rim. Because I think if that Texas A&M game wasn't indicative enough of why you need a solid rim protector, you're going to have to go back and watch the tape, because it wasn't the threes, although that was a huge wrinkle in the problem of that game. When you can't stop anyone from driving, you think about how we lost to Illinois in the Big Ten tournament game. Shannon Jr. going to the rim, free throw, free throw, free throw. We just struggled to really deter guys from the rim. So, when it comes to a center at Nebraska, what kind of big do you think complements a Fred Hoiberg's offense? Do you want a stretch 5? Do you think you can handle a guy like a Zach Edey who's just going to play a straight up 5 like old school back in the day? Or what is the ideal 5 in a Nebraska offense?
I think, that lanky kind of 5 that can play guard is what everybody is going to. I'm more so, looking forward like somebody is more traditional. Edie's fine. He's not, that type as much. But, a big bruiser that's going to cause attention, a dominant force that you're going to have to mind in the middle. He's going to clog up things. And, when you drive to the lane, he's going to make you, feel foul. So I think that would be something along the lines of, a heavier set, a bigger guy to, enforce things.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, especially because we're getting Mast back. And I do think you can get, Williams, Rink Mast, Juwan Gary. Those 3 kind of feel like really strong core players to bring back. You obviously don't want to leave out guys like Sam Hoiberg. But again, those 3 core guys, and I would love to see what does Rink Mast look like if you pair him with an elite 5. That sounds scary to me, because Rink Mast playmaking is the one thing that's how he got to, if I remember correctly, it was 3rd team all Big Ten. He didn't get there because he was a dominant rim protector. He was putting up 20 plus points a game. He got there because coaches understood his playmaking is a problem. He got other guys open a lot. So he didn't always show up on the stat sheet, but he got a lot of good looks for his teammates, whether it was the hockey assist or the straight up assist. So I would love to see, what do you think? What is the ceiling for Nebraska's offense if you can pair Rink Mast with an elite rim protector? Because that's just going to help him a ton on defense as well. Keep him out of those foul situations when, if we're just being real here, he's not the most athletic big out there, but he's a great offensive player. So you don't necessarily want to take him off the court.
I think if you pair him, with a big, a true 5 to get things done that can draw an attention, and efficient scorer and a facilitator and a guard that can get things going and whatnot. I think those are pivotal positions. Matt, he can play inside and outside. He will be able to pull, defenders that, that 4 or 3/4 slash position out on the perimeter to where, the middle, we can, get true one-on-ones, or it'll be a mismatch advantage if you get, the right personnel right there. I think it could expand a lot, and you would have variety, and there's nothing wrong, with having variety and different ways of scoring in the game of basketball. So, you don't want to be one-dimensional, and I think if you get the right personnel that allows, his playing style and what he likes to do to flourish even better, I think that would be, awesome.
Yeah, and then I'm with you there, because I think when you do get players like Rink Mast, when you get playmaking bigs like that, you have such an opportunity to create real havoc on the offensive end of the court. That's why Jokic, for as great as he is as an offensive player, Nikola Jokic is an absolute terror, because it's what he can do with the pass. And you look at all the bigs, Hakeem, same thing. What they can do with that pass when they're already a good offensive player becomes terrifying. So if you can figure out some way to really elevate Mast's game with a big that can kind of play off of him, I think that 2 game is, depending on who that 5 is, kid has a chance to be better than none in the Big Ten next year, especially with Zach Edey likely moving on from Purdue. Well, will be moving on from Purdue here. That opens the door. I think if Nebraska wants to have some serious matchup problems that they can hand to other teams, I think the key is kind of in Rink Mast, and we know Juwan Gary's an athletic and get some forwards. I like our forwards in the game, but you get that 2 game going, that to me sounds like a recipe for success and will significantly help us on defense as well, not putting Rink Mast to the challenge on having to be the sole guy to really protect the rim over and over. And of course, help the rebounding numbers as well. Let's talk about a guy that Nebraska has an opportunity who's going to be taking an official visit, Frankie Fiddler out of Omaha. He's playing the forward position. And I believe, let me pull up his height here real quick. So yeah, 6'7", 205 pounds, the Bellevue, Nebraska native. Just some stats for him if you guys are unfamiliar with his game playing in Omaha this last season. This season, he did average, not too bad of stats, 45% shooting, but again, 35.6 from the three-point line, and 85% free throw shooter. Always big on seeing the high free throw numbers because that's always pretty indicative of how good of a shooter they actually are. 6.3 rebounds, 2.6 assists, about a half block, and over a steal a game, and only turns it over about on average once a game as well. So again, not bad. Averaging 20 points. I mean, what is a guy like that? 6'7", can rebound, and is clearly shown he can shoot the three ball as well.
Versatility is key.
Yep.
He checks the boxes of what you need and looking for. And it's always good to have a 6'7" footer on your team. So he's a Nebraska native. You got to start winning. Keeping an in-state talent in state, and pushing them away from Creighton if that may be what he's thinking or whatnot. But I mean, it's got to start somewhere. So why not there?
I'm with you. I like that fit a lot for Nebraska basketball. If you can get a guy like that with some real size, because again, I think the biggest problem for Nebraska is definitely around that paint area. I like the offense, but we got to figure out how to play better defense. Nebraska could go on big runs, but was also very notorious for giving up big runs. And that was kind of the problem in a lot of the games. You look at the Illinois game, just about every game you lost, you felt like Nebraska had a strong lead. Second half, again, their inability to give up massive runs. Defensively, looking at this team, what are the things you want to see there? Without just talking about, players we could possibly get in, for me, it was, we definitely struggled to defend that three-point line. And it was a result of doubling the center. I get it, protect the paint over the three, but that definitely got us into trouble quite a few times. And again, you don't have to watch a lot of tape. Texas A&M, the three ball shredded us early.
I feel like, when there is necessarily, aggressive team like A&M, identifying, understanding, like, okay, to get them to stop, to be quicker to change, the style of play to like, okay, they want to drive and take it to the hole and everything like that. Somebody a lead and start taking charges and being able to adapt to, how teams are playing and whatnot. Overall size, I think would help length and, how big people were. We weren't a very tall team and we weren't a very big team. So I think if you add those two things, I think it'll help tremendously with how they were playing defense. And that's just kind of like, what they had. So it's not that they weren't doing it. It's just that was kind of like, their style.
Yeah. And again, I think the style for them was also just kind of indicative of, like you said, small ball. Even if I want them to push more on the perimeter, they weren't a very big team, and that would make them susceptible for surely inside, especially if you had to go against Zach Edey. You could pretty much pick any of the Big Ten teams. If you're not going to be a strong inside presence and protecting the rim, you're probably going to have a long night. And we saw that earlier in the year with Minnesota. We got better with rotations, but that's definitely a spot of weakness. I would love to see that patched up. With this being way too early kind of predictions, we still don't have the players we know who are going to be in next season, but we will get to a point where Nebraska basketball simmers down and we're not talking about it ad nauseum. But March Madness is still kind of fresh on the minds. Is this a program that has now made the steps to continue to do this next season and years going forward? Are you going to grade this team harder this upcoming season, knowing that they did make it to the dance? They were plus 500 in Big Ten play, and they actually finished with a double bye in the Big Ten tournament. Is it fair to expect that again next season?
I think it's a little bit early for that right now. They have a lot of pieces that are leaving, a lot of talented pieces, a lot of key pieces. So the rebuild is he's going to have to, bring in, the best fit and somewhat of a big splash name for me to kind of get behind that. It's still early. The people that did enter in the transfer portal might not, continue their way with trying to leave. So I'm not going to hop on that shit just too early, just because there's a lot of unknowns. But he's shown that, he can coach groups of guys, this same group or majority of the same group 2-3 years ago. Look what he's done over time. So I know it's there. I know he's going to get the group there. Hopefully he can just get, some veteran players that can, take charge and take over things and, swing the game for in our favor and play in his system well to get us over the hump.
I think I'm going to push back a little bit. I do think that's a fair expectation. And you guys can agree, disagree. 402-464-5685. What are the expectations need to be, or not need to be, should be in your mind for Nebraska basketball? Obviously, with March Madness, if you want to give for the women's as well, the women's had an even better run than the men's team. And if we're just being fair here, they lost in the second round or that second day. They got a lot on their plate as well next season, what it could bring for them. But in terms on the men's side, you're at this point where you finally have Nebraska basketball identified as a national brand. Now, you can argue how great of a brand is it compared to the North Carolinas, the Dukes. Obviously, it's not going to compare, but there's kids out there that probably don't even realize Nebraska basketball is even a program when they're really young, just because there simply isn't a lot of history. You got eyes on it. Shout out to Keisei Tamanaga for doing his work, getting a lot of eyes on Nebraska basketball. You're Fred Hoiberg. You got a respected resume. You got Juwan Gary, Delano Banton, Sam Griesel's got a shot. You got dudes that you can point to that you gave a legitimate shot to play NBA professional basketball. And that's not even, calling out some of the overseas guys. You have enough on your plate to where if you can't get the guys you need in the room, that's on you as the coach at this point. The facilities at Nebraska are fantastic. They're going to be a challenge getting the best of the best until you really start making some progress. But we were talking about it the other day. The best teams seem to be built by older classmen, not necessarily your fringe NBA guys. Look at Kentucky and how they faded out quickly. It was a young team. You look at the teams that have won it in recent years, Villanova, Kansas, the older teams that were able to win those. Even Baylor that 1 year with this monster defense, that was an older group of guys. So I think if you are Nebraska and you're Fred Hoiberg, the expectations got to be the same, if not higher, because you're actually starting to build on something now. And if we go on this cycle of it was a good year, but we didn't quite get it done, so we're going to have to reset and have a okay-ish roster, I'm not buying that at all. You got to retool and use the momentum to continue growing as opposed to use the momentum as a reason to slow down. So, I think I'm not saying they got to get a double bye in the Big Ten tournament, but they got to be close. You got to continue to play good Big Ten basketball. Now it's going to be challenging. You're going to throw USC and UCLA in there, which I think people forget at times is pretty two decent basketball programs. But Nebraska's got to be fighting in that thing. And I mean, where are you at on that? Is that too high of expectations for, I still think, despite the Big Ten growing, that is a team that without a question to me should still be fighting for those top 4 seeds in that Big Ten tournament?
No, that's fair to say. I feel like, he's established and shown that he's a reliable coach that can, get guys, get his team, that can make a run in the tournament and play potentially, for a Big Ten championship. So I think that's fair completely. I think that would draw guys, in with, the type of environment that we have here and, with the right players that the coach can, get you there and get, more looks and, have you great film to, set you up to be, for a good run in, the NBA draft process and everything like that. So I think that's fair completely.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep talking about that balance of young guys and old guys because I do think it's important. When you have Rink Mast, Bryce Williams, Juwan Gary, yes, you have some other core guys in there, and not that those guys aren't important, but I think those are kind of the 3 core guys that carried a large chunk of the offensive and defensive roles in that starting lineup this year. You've got 3 guys that got some experience under their belt. They've played in a lot of college games. They played in big moments. They've all gone to March Madness even. And, Rink Mast played in even bigger games if you want to argue the runs he's had with his former team. That sounds like the perfect balance. You go get the transfer portal, you get a couple of young guys, you inject that with the veteran leadership you have already. That's been the recipe for teams to win March Madness. Now, I'm not saying next year everyone put on your bracket Nebraska to win it all, but I am saying that is very similar to how the best teams are playing basketball right now in terms of how their rosters are organized. So I'm very optimistic about this team next season, and I think we should be. As Nebraska fans, we get scared to get excited, understandably so. But this is a program that, despite the tough loss, it feels like the legs are finally under it. For this program that struggled for so damn long, they finally have legs under it. And the last thing I want us to do as fans is to worry about, oh, we're going to hit it downhill. No, we should be excited. This is, for once, a program we can celebrate and watch because they're playing good basketball. And I don't expect it to be any different this upcoming season. So expectations are high for me, and I think they should be high. With that being said, we'll go ahead and throw it to our first break here on the Dome Punt Hour. We got the host, as always, DeMornay Pierson-El on the Yellow VIP line. Really understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. And, of course, I'm back here at the 1040 Ticket Studios at the studios as always. So, again, don't go anywhere. We'll throw it to break and be back in just a little bit.
Jake Sorensen here for The Body Shop. My wife is nearing her due date with our first child and has been in need of a good massage as her body continues to change and adapt. Dennis and the team at The Body Shop were incredible with the prenatal massage that she's still talking about today. I was also able to get a deep tissue massage, so it was a great bonding experience and a unique couples massage in general. If you're in need of stress relief, book a massage today at thebodyshoplincoln.com. The Body Shop at 48th and A.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
A smoke-free environment is the only way to fully protect from the dangers of secondhand smoke. That's why smoke-free policies are so important to me. Whether it's in my car, apartment building, or when I'm dining outdoors, there's no place for secondhand smoke or e-cigarette aerosol. Breathe easier knowing the facts. Visit smokefree.ne.gov. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Happy Hour.
How's life treating you, man?
Here's why people don't really respond to your questions. Are we in the circle of truth? You really want to know why? Because the feeling when you ask those questions is not very genuine. You really don't care about our feelings. You only care about Nick.
You make me sound so bad.
It is. You really only care about Nick.
I do care.
No, you do not.
If I didn't care, I wouldn't ask you. You only ask that question because it seems nice.
And you want to look good on the street.
That's not it at all.
It makes you sound like a nice person. You don't care. You don't care how much it was.
It's cool.
Weekdays from 1 to 2 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids. First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse. Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey guys, Jake Sorensen here from Early Break. The garage door at our house has been needing replacement for a couple years, and a few months ago, we finally did something about it. Steve's Garage Doors and Services was great through the whole process in providing options and also going to the next level to get a door that was approved by our HOA. And best of all, the removal of the old door and installation of the new door was done smoothly with no issues. Call Steve's Garage Doors and Services today at 402-480-2840.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
A smoke-free environment is the only way to fully protect from the dangers of secondhand smoke. That's why smoke-free policies are so important to me. Whether it's in my car, apartment building, or when I'm dining outdoors, there's no place for secondhand smoke or e-cigarette aerosol. Breathe easier knowing the facts. Visit smokefree.ne.gov. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Early Break with Sip and Jake.
Sip, we had dinner that night.
Yeah, you did seem a little rattled, not terribly. but a little.
So
he doesn't relax very well.
No.
He does. Jake's not very relaxed.
This did come up during the game when things weren't going well. I'm in agony. It's like watching yourself die.
That's what it felt like.
I have the
That was
text.
during the game.
During the game, I have the text.
It felt
right?
like
Circled.
Yeah, it felt like watching yourself die in that arena, basically. Nebraska, you have 98 points. Should have been 120, essentially, but they give 98 points.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. This is the Don't Punt Out. This is the Don't Punt Out on 93.7 The Ticket and The Ticket host. Good morning. Here is your host, Good morning, Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back into the Don't Punt Hour. Harrison Arns on the 1s and 2s. And if you guys want to join the show, as always, Starter Heyman text line open for you, 402-464-5685. And again, great way to join the show. If you want to join the streams, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and of course, Allo Channel 961. But let's go ahead and bring him back in. Good morning, Pierson-El, the host, as always. I want to talk about something a little different on this segment. The NCAA might be fighting one of their better battles. It feels like a long time, at least morally. Even I don't believe they're doing it for the moral right reasons. I think they're doing it to avoid scandals. What do you feel about the NCAA's attempts currently to just straight out ban prop bets for college games?
Straight out ban what?
Prop bets, just bets in general. You want to bet the over under, whatever it may be, money line for Duke over North Carolina, NCAA, they want to get rid of it all. No more college betting.
I feel like that's outside of their wheelhouse.
It's
unless can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. I can hear you.
Unless you have a known factor or known fact of college athletes throwing games, that has nothing to do with you, really. Honestly, you're mad and upset at what exactly?
I think they're mad and upset in how situations, if you remember the Alabama and the Iowa players that got fined in that whole scandal where they were betting on games. To me, the idea is it for them. It may be if I want to believe they're good people, it may be I want to protect the student athletes from potentially getting into scandals. They're young. Why even have those bets props out there for them?
Well, then y'all make the rules to where you won't allow the college athletes to get in trouble with betting with betting stuff. That's not you can't outlaw betting. That's not that's not. I mean, it's not. I've seen ways gambling can be bad and whatnot and everything like that, but you have to outline and make your rules for your own organization. You can't just say, "Oh, we want to stop betting on college games," when betting has been around for I don't know how many years on college sports and whatnot. That's not. The toothpaste is already the toothpaste cap is already off that. Like it's already coming out. You can't stuff that one back in its tube.
I'll agree with you, and it feels like a futile attempt. It's like I don't actually see this going too far, but it does raise an interesting question. I'll be honest, I'm not completely against it.
You have a lot more issues, other issues, and more concerning issues that you should be more concerned about, more so than spending money, spending resources on that. How about spending resources on other things? Or better yet, give Reggie Bush his Heisman back.
Hey,
how about that?
I'm with you on that one. You can give Bush the Heisman back, especially, we're not going to spend time on it, but especially if you look at the charge, why he doesn't have his Heisman. It's absolutely, utterly ridiculous. But with the gambling, it is getting to a point where it does feel like it is way too much in your face. The fact that ESPN has their own gambling service when they're the ones kind of creating a lot of these schedulings, a lot of prop bets, I don't like it. I don't like how much. I'm okay with it if you gamble on those sports. You go down to Warhorse. I don't care. Spend your money how you want to spend it. But it does feel like we promote it like crazy these days. And the fact, I don't even think ESPN should be able to put prop bets out for considering how involved they are in the whole damn thing. I do like this idea. I don't think it's going to go anywhere, but we don't really need to have bets for college games. I can understand why you would want it.
Just threaten kids, eligibility. If you get caught or if you enact, set a limit or whatever, set an investigative team to set aside things and whatnot, you can do it. But if it's over exceeding X amount of limit or you violating stuff, you lose your eligibility. That'll take care of a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
that's something easy. Like if you don't want kids betting and everything like that, okay, well, if y'all bet, y'all not going to be able to play. I guarantee you the betting will stop significantly. You do it on everything else.
It may, but I think it's still the fact that, like, why they want to go with the just complete ban is because it has the potential to just ruin the integrity of the game. And again, that's why the Iowa players got hit so hard, was because when you have these, we've seen it in other pro sports as well, it creates serious, massive problems for the NCAA, NBA, NFL, NHL. I don't care. When you have players betting, it puts serious risk of integrity of the game out there. And then it leaves out to speculation. And we know what people do with speculation. They draw a lot of conclusions, and maybe 5% of them are actually true. So I do think it's a smart battle. Does it happen? I don't see it happening. I mean, what do you think? Would you want to have these college games banned, or do you think not that it can or can't be done? What would you actually want? Do you think these games should be banned to protect the integrity, or do you not care and you think it's just a pointless battle for nothing?
To be honest, I don't pay. I'm not a gambler myself.
Smart man.
Honestly, I really don't care. If you let that, be a problem of yours, that's a self-control issue. That's something that can be changed and whatnot. It's not like these kids are getting bribed, different at different times or whatnot, or a gun is being held to, their family's head or something like that. So the integrity thing, like, I guess, but I mean, at the end of the day, they were betting years ago. They've had these types of problems before. Everything comes in cycles. The moon goes in cycles. Your appetite goes in cycles. Like, it's just one of those things that comes with the game. It is what it is. Like I said, if you want to monitor things and everything like that, way more than make the punishment harsh and cruel to where your athletes won't even risk that jeopardy of losing out on NIL money, losing out on being a lottery pick in basketball, or being a first-round draft pick, or your draft stock in any draft process. And I feel like that will cut out, the most of that situation.
Fair enough. And we'll see where it goes. Like I said, it's still pretty early on. Basically, the only thing that's happening right now is the NCAA is going to people, FanDuel, whatever it may be. I mean, like, hey, can you please take our props off? And they simply say, no, it's not your jurisdiction. Essentially, your point at the very beginning. So it doesn't have a whole lot of legs on it. That's basically their best shot, is to just get some sort of agreement. I don't think there's actually anything they could legally catch those guys on, because, like you said, it's legal. It's been more legal than ever. I mean, my Lord, the amount of gambling we promote in the U.S., we'll see. Hopefully we don't end up with an era with a bunch of degenerate gamblers. But again, if you're gambling out there, just be safe, because they throw that stuff in your face like crazy these days. I got nothing against it, but just be wise with it if you're going to go down that route. With that being said, though, let's go ahead and switch off the college gambling, because I think, like I said, that's not going to go too far. As much as if you wanted to or not, it's the NCAA. I mean, we've talked about the amount of power those guys have becomes less and less, but feels like by the year at this point. So probably won't go that far. Let's go back to Husker football, and we'll spend a little bit on this segment, and then we'll wrap it up on the last segment with some Husker football as well. And I want to continue the conversation we had yesterday, just trying to figure out these key points for Nebraska and expectations. We kind of talked about the quarterbacks yesterday, but then on that defensive side of the ball, who do you think we could have emerging as some real leaders on this team? And I'll give you a couple guys that I really like. Tommy Hill and Javen Wright. Those two guys feel like they are primed to take massive steps. If you look at Javen Wright stats, like, when that guy was starting, he was all over the place. The only problem was there was other guys on that team that were great that kind of had that spot already in place. But Javen's numbers, he was still leading the team a lot of critical categories on the defensive side of the ball without even starting most of those games. So Javen Wright, for me, definitely seems like a standout player, a guy that can hopefully start winning that turnover battle for Nebraska as well. When it comes to that defensive side of the ball, who seems like possible leaders that can emerge from there?
I would definitely say Tommy. Definitely Gifford for sure. These are guys that are year two in the system, junior and seniors. in the program. They've been around. They've seen a few things. I think people definitely, for sure, look to them for answers, to figure things out, or voices of the team. And with how well things went on the defensive side last year, year 2 in the system, I think a lot more people will be more comfortable. I think people's roles will expand more because they know the expectation of stuff. Communication will be a lot better. They were in the right spot to make a lot of plays last year. They just didn't end up, turning the ball over a whole bunch or more than, or getting more turnovers than I would like. But again, the film showed, that they're in the right spot. That they were around the ball. So I think this year, a lot of heads will be turning. I think, a lot more confidence will be played on the defense. Not saying that it wasn't last year. I just think, taking steps 2 and 3 to a whole nother level.
I'm with you there. And again, kind of talking about, some other guys, we can be obvious here too. And if I want to be really obvious, guys are going to matter next year for Nebraska that as long as they stay healthy, knock on wood, Ty Robinson, Nash Hutmaker, problem makers. I'd imagine them to be strong leaders in the defensive room. But a guy like Malcolm Hartzog, junior year, that's a guy that I really want to see take that next step. Because you said it earlier, and I think you're right on this. He was in the right spot a lot of times. Early in the game, I could point out one play where he just completely missed the read, but a lot of corners have been there, so I'm not going to kill him for it. That's a guy that has a ton of athleticism, but he just really needs to get the technique down. What do you see in Malcolm Hartzog's game? Because I think this is an opportunity for him to really shine and take a big leap forward, or time will tell that he isn't just going to take that leap that we desperately want him. And to me, it's technical. Malcolm Hartzog's game, what do you see in it, and what are you hopeful for this upcoming season?
This year, hopefully he pulls the trigger. Your eyes see things. It matches up. Clearly, they were all watching film as a unit because, like I said, they were in the right positions. Now it's just, trusting what your eyes telling you, trusting what your instincts are telling you, and, just making the play. Not necessarily taking a gamble and taking a chance, but, trust your technique, trust, what your coach is telling you and everything like that. And that's, again, year 2 of the coaches, of them being around the coaches and, understanding what the expectation is and whatnot. So now it's, okay, now I understand what the assignment is. Now it's, I can play, freely because I know if I mess up how he's going to react, or if I have questions, or if I'm thinking this and that, he's not going to bite my head off or anything like that. It's a favorable environment. It's a well-instructed environment. It's a good learning environment. You got good teammates around you and whatnot. Now it's just okay, now I'm more comfortable and confident, and I can take those chances and take that next leap. So hopefully this year, like I said, hopefully we see him pull the trigger.
Yeah, a real quick answer here. Like Tony White, year 2, on the defensive side of the ball, how much does that matter to have a second year? Like, can we expect another significant leap because it is year 2 and the defense already looked great year 1, but I would expect another jump here. Like, how much do you think this defense is going to be clicking just right out the gates against UTEP year 2 under Tony White?
Out the gate, again, you still have pieces that, that left. You still got, young players coming in. You got, young players playing behind, seasoned vets. So it's going to take those times. You got to get those guys catch up. You got to be, hopefully well-run unit. And just because, your starters are well and trained and everything like that, it doesn't stop there. So we're only going to be as good as, as our second team guys and the special team guys are, because those guys contribute as well. I think you'll see the same type of output with a little bit more, meaning the plays that they were close to making or around the ball to make. I think half of those plays you see the guys and the players make half of those plays that they weren't last year. The game-changing plays, the turnovers, forced fumbles, interceptions, running back for touchdowns and whatnot and like that. So that's what my expectation is. Just, with being around, having more years under the same coaches, under a system that does work. those numbers I would think would be right around the same at least, if not, like I said, a little bit better.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch. I do think this defense, it might take a little bit of time. My biggest fear, as it always is like if you want to be the best of the best, that front four, front five, however you want to label that front defensive unit, front seven, those guys, you're going to need some more depth there. I think that's where you get the separation of Michigan, of Ohio State, of those really good teams, when their guys that are starting on that defensive line are already great, fantastic players, and they can go catch a breather, come back with full energy, but the guys right behind them are just as devastating. So I think that's the next step, but I do like the talent we have coming back. And again, if we talk about Tony White, everyone's really favorable about him. I'm curious what the development looks like with him as well. With that being said, we'll go ahead and throw it to our last break here. This is the Dome Punt Hour with the Morning Pierson-El. The host, as always, Harrison Owens, back at 1040 Ticket Studios. Again, we'll throw it to break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a little bit.
The Omaha Supernovas are back in action this Thursday, March 28th versus the Grand Rapids Rise at CHI Health Center in Omaha. The Mullen Motors pregame show with Derek Pearson and Renee Saunders starts at 6 p.m. with first serve at 7. Make sure to tune in to the next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Supernovas Radio Network. Load up on meat and more this spring at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's specials through April 2nd is buy one, get one free on 8-ounce flat iron steaks. Limit 4 per visit. And don't forget about lunch on Fired Up Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Locations on 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Problem gambling is not just a financial issue. It's an emotional problem with financial consequences. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
The Drive with AD and Raph.
We're going to hear from Troy Dannon for the first time today in a formal capacity. What are you hoping to hear?
Wanting to hear his goals, what he plans here. I know he just got here, but at least early goals.
I want him to come in and say that he is going to also do everything in his power to make Nebraska not a school that people use it as just a stop to go to somewhere else.
Not much. I really do. I want him to say little but do a lot. Just come in, say how happy to be here. Don't say this is your last stop, bull crap. Talk about your family.
Weekdays from 8 to 10 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Spring often marks the beginning of severe weather, which can lead to power outages. LES wants you to be prepared before the storm. Restock your emergency kit, update your info with LES, and if you encounter an outage, report it at les.com/report.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today. There's a chance we could see a few flurries. Otherwise, we'll see partly sunny skies and a high around 46. Tonight, mainly clear skies with a low around 28. And tomorrow, we'll see more sunshine to go along with warmer temperatures. The afternoon high expected around 64. I'm meteorologist Kyle Buckner for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you're passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment of the Don't Punt Hour. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos, as always, starting at 6 o'clock back at the 1040 Ticket Studios. We got Pierson-El, the host of the show, on the Allo VIP line. And if you guys want to join in, last-second comments, 402-464-5685. Start a him and text line, as always. And to wrap this conversation up, I want to talk about Troy Dannon. And shout out to Josh Little, just put a promo together from the drive that did raise an interesting question that I think would be great to wrap up with. As we get to know our new AD, what do we want in an AD? Because I used to want a guy that would say all the right things, that would promise, I love this place, this is where I want to be. But the reality is, coaches, previous ADs, a lot of them have proven they're still for sale. So I don't even know if I care so much about the coach, the AD, fluff speak, but how much they love the place, X, Y, and Z. I just want to hear things that tell me you're serious about this, getting this place on the right track. And I want to see you publicly there supporting your team. Now with Trev Alberts, obviously he was there and he still left, but that was one thing about him that I did appreciate over Bill Moose, was that he was present and you could physically see him at these events supporting Husker, whatever it is, swimming, track field, bowling, football, basketball, you name it. Whether you like him or not, or now, that is one thing he did well. Now, I don't care about the coach speak and all that stuff. I don't want to hear it anymore because it just burned me so many times, but I do want to see an AD that's very upfront and out there in the open that fans can actually go see and interact with. What does a good AD look like to you, Pierson-El, and what do you want to see out of Troy Dannon?
Not to bash on Trey, because I think he was definitely given the leaving thing, I think he's definitely the bar.
Mm-hmm.
He was somebody who was a straight shooter. So I think definitely, being honest and being straightforward, it is what it is, laying it out. Someone who is bringing solutions to problems and fixing things. Someone who's, who's taking initiative. I understand the words and all of that and everything like that, but someone who shows up and actually does what he says he's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand, with the Trev situation, I'm not taking a shot at him. Because I understand the circumstances. I understand,
I don't. I still don't.
Some of the things that he was dealing with. But to bring change and actually, do what you are supposed to be doing. Don't be a puppet. Don't be, behind closed doors doing bidding for other people. Stand on what you believe on. Stand on what you think is right, and which will be best for the the university, not just doing what a group says or doing what a handler says or anything like that. So I think that's what is important to me, just actually speaking and doing what you say you're going to do.
Yeah, I like that. Just be a straight shooter. I'm with you on that. I don't need the fluff anymore. I'm so over the fluff at this point. Just tell me what your goals are and go deliver, and be innovative. And again, I'm not going to turn this into, let's talk about Trev's previous achievements, but the volleyball day in Nebraska, that was fantastic. That was massive. It got Nebraska into national news, stuff like that. This is a fan base that is so damn passionate that you can call them to show up anywhere and they will. And it's just one of those things that I think you got to really take advantage of. So that's why I want an AD that is more, I don't know, got to be personable, but at least out there in the open where we can see them and interact with them, because that is important, I think, for Nebraska fans, is they want to kind of feel that community to the program. And when you have an AD that's out there in public, kind of unifying the group together, that's what you like to see. So again, I'm optimistic about it. I'm not gonna, don't tell me you want to be here. This is your final stop. Don't, for the love of God, don't tell me that, because time will tell. But I do just want exactly what you said: a straight shooter, be innovative, and don't be somebody's puppet. And especially right now, we got an interim president. So if you're somebody's puppet, I would be surprised, to say the least. But with that being said, we're going to wrap it up here. This has been the Don't Punt Hour. Shout out to DeMornay Pierson-El on the Allo VIP line, as always, for joining me. DeMornay, good talking to you, and I will talk to you again next week because we got Supernovas on Thursday.
See you.
That was DeMornay Pierson-El, the host. And again, I'm Harrison Arns at the back at the Ticket Studios. We'll set up a replay for you guys. Brewington is out tonight, but we'll run one of his replays with Chris Kolarvik, another former Husker. So it should be a good one in case you missed it. And then we'll be back live after that. So don't go anywhere. Still plenty left ahead here on Ticket Weeknights. And I'll talk to you guys in just an hour.